Well, this morning I'd like to work with one of my most precious favorite fabrics. And I say precious not because it's extremely valuable, but I just absolutely love it. And this is a fabric that we get in South Africa. It's called shweshwe. And it's normally used by the local people for clothing. But first of all, I just love the fact that it's cotton, because we live in a hugely hot country and cotton is just lovely to wear in summer. Secondly, you get lovely designs in this. Originally it was all just either in this sort of blue, this navy blue and white, or it was in brown and white, but they have started to print colors now. But the thing that I love most of all is just the smell of this fabric. There's something in this printing process that has this beautiful smell. And when you walk into the shop to go and buy it, you just stand there and I know it sounds mad, you just stand there and smell the fabric. I used to take an old friend of mine who was in her 80s, Joan, to get this because she made little smock dresses for kids. And she and I both felt the same way when we walked into the fabric shop to get it. But having said that, often when you're sewing, you've got lots of leftover little bits and pieces of fabric. And I'd like to give you a couple of ideas of things that you can do to use some of those up and be effective. So I have this enormous big roll here of double-sided tape. I was very, very lucky to get it. This one is made by Sellotape. I think you can get it in different widths. And I did look on Amazon in the UK and in the States, and I think you were able to get it there. But I like the fact that it is really wide because it gives me options. So what I do when I have got scraps of this fabric left over, or other fabric, is I simply just unroll a piece of my double-sided tape. And I don't cut it off the roll yet because otherwise it does have a tendency to curl, and because it's quite high tack, I don't want it sticking to everything. Oopsie. So what I do to begin with here is that I would just simply take my scraps of fabric, whatever size they are. Let's take something slightly bigger, like this one here. And then I would just simply lay this down on my double-sided tape, almost in a patchwork-like fashion. And then I would take my next piece and I would just layer it up as it fits. And it doesn't matter what size they are, you just keep rolling that up until you've got a sheet of this that you can actually use. Oopsie. Then you would set that aside, and you could take something like a little wooden cutout. Here I've got a heart, and I've traced on that. And because the backing paper is slightly waxy, if you use something like a pen or a pencil or even an embossing tool, it will leave a mark. And then once you have that, you can actually then cut it out, and it cuts through very easily because of the backing. It doesn't slip and slide, and you can see your lines really nicely. I wouldn't suggest working with something that is terribly intricate. Maybe a complicated flower or something like that I wouldn't do, but the outline of a flower like a tulip would be fine. Something that's got lots and lots of ins and outs like an agapanthus I would leave alone. Okay, so then once you've actually got your design now with its adhesive backing, you're ready to go. And all it requires now is that you take this backing off, and then you can stick it onto a variety of surfaces. So this was my one piece of fabric with very small little bits and pieces of shweshwe left over. You can see on the back here where the see-through lines are, how it's been joined. So it really is a good way of using scraps. So first of all, I made some little cards. I just took a band, and this was actually a selvage edge. I put double-sided tape on, layered up some different cards and a square of shweshwe and a button just to make a really nice little card. Here I took a stencil that I've got of a map of Africa, and I cut that out. This isn't shweshwe, but you could do it with shweshwe really nicely. And then using the little hearts, I just stuck several different sizes onto a piece of card, used some of my fancy scissors to cut the edges, but made a little bookmark with that. I have a wooden cutout of Cape Town, and this is our lovely Table Mountain. And so I needed to make sure that when I was putting the design onto the backing, that I made sure the orientation would be correct when I come to stick it down. Otherwise, you know, with something like this where it's not the same on both sides, I could have ended up with it looking incorrectly. And this one was lovely to do. I had some Brazilian missionaries staying with me, Camilla and Vicente, and they needed to send some gifts back to their supporters. So we made these Cape Town bookmarks with Shreshware, and then Camilla wrote messages for each of them on the back of it for her congregation, and that was a lovely gift to do. Then if you've got sewing buddies, like I had when I belonged to a quilting guild, you could make something along those lines, or with little flowers you could actually do it. So this is a combination of just coloring and doing some of the sticking down. And then here's another little card that was made very, very simple. This is just the beginning of it. You could put a sentiment on here as well, but just using these little scraps of fabric. And because the fabric is thick and the double-sided tape is so thin, it does give it a slightly raised surface on all of them. So it's rather nice that it stands up, and it gives another dimension to the work that you're doing. So let me put them out so that you can see them all together. I know that quite a lot of people like to see everything all at once, and I hope that this is going to give you some inspiration as to how you can actually use up all the little pieces of material that you have lying around your home. Maybe I'll do it this way so that you don't have the tails of the bookmarks in your way. Get the fabric out, and let's just do this. Bookmarks over here. There we go. How's that? So now you can see how to do all of those things there. Right, a very simple idea, quick and easy to do, and I hope you have lots of fun. If you can't find a big wide roll of tape like this, then it's okay, because the tape's so thin, just to lay two pieces of the thinner one side by side. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe and like, and I would love to hear your comments. And I'm also able to teach a lot of different things, so if you have special requests, just leave it in the comment section below. Thanks for joining me. Bye.